Peace and love, everybody. What's happening? This is Stacy Patrice here with another Hump Day edition of Tools for the Soul. Thank you so much for joining us this week. Thanks for tuning in every Wednesday to find out what are the tools that you need in order to keep your week going. And today I would like to talk to all of you about what happens or what tools you can use when you have resistance to the very things in life that could be good for you but instead make you cringe. And we've all had this happen, right? We've all had things that we said, oh, I just can't stand that person, or I can't stand that thing, or I don't like doing that. It just makes me cringe, you know? We have a very strong resistance towards something for reasons that we're not always necessarily sure of, right? Sometimes we believe we know the answers to why we're resistant, and sometimes we get shown the answers to why we're resistant. And then also sometimes we get shown through other people why maybe perhaps it would be a good idea to not be resistant. So I want to discuss that a bit today and just make this a practical application you can take into your life throughout the rest of the week until we meet again next Wednesday. So what does that look like? So let me give an example for myself. One of the things that makes me cringe is doing something that already exists, that other people are already doing, and calling it my own. That absolutely makes me cringe. It makes me cringe to think that someone has taken the time and the energy to develop something, and then here I come in the marketplace and calling it my own and doing it for the same people and doing it the same way, and then all of a sudden expecting people to believe that what I'm doing is magic. That is not something that I find to be in alignment with authenticity, and it's definitely something that makes me cringe. When I see other people do it, it makes me cringe. When it's been done to me, it makes me cringe. And so I have to figure out, why do I have such a strong charge about that? And the reason why I discovered is that I feel deep inside of every person is this unique, undeniable intelligence, authenticity, and originality. And that people spend far too much time trying to be like others and trying to fit in without validating the very things that make them different that other people may be extremely happy to be bestowed upon. And they are not in a position where they can say, anybody else is doing that thing for them or anyone else is doing it that way. So that's just my thing that makes me cringe. And that goes across a lot of the things I've done. That goes across when I was modeling, how people would say, oh, because you're a black girl and you have natural hair, you are the same as any other black girl with natural hair, and therefore we're only going to promote one of you. That goes along the lines of being a photographer. When you see a photographer copy somebody else's photographic style, in essence to try and emulate what that photographer is expressing, but they don't feel the deep impact of robbing someone else. They don't feel the deep impact of this was someone's inspiration, expression, and original force that they created and put forth. It doesn't matter if 1,000 people jump on it right away. It's just that it's their idea and it's what they wanted to express and what they wanted to give. So whose right is it to come along and rob it and say that it's theirs and then still promote it to the same people or the same audience or things of that nature? So that's what I wanted to share. In the yoga industry, it's also the same. It's like we all have our practices. We have things that we do, things that, are specific to who we are. But a lot of us in the yoga industry are experiencing there being this overcrowdedness. And to me, the overcrowdedness is simply people not claiming what it is that makes them unique and makes what they do extremely special. I happen to host the most soulful yoga program in Chicago, and it happens to be on the South Side. And the reason that I know that I can substantiate this claim is because I know what it is that I'm going to put into it, what I've been putting into it, and I know from feedback from the people about what it is that they need. And this is the reason why that I say this is because I am setting myself in a position where I am saying the very things that are unique to me are the very things I'm going to promote, and that's it. It's yoga. It's yoga for people to come to a class, but it's different in the way that I express it. And if someone else expresses it similarly, hopefully it will still be different because it's unique to them. We're not all the same, so we can't produce the same thing. So when you see people producing the same thing, that's an automatic sign that it's copying. So let's just talk about that for a minute. What are some tools you can use to stay authentic, to release your resistance to things that make you cringe, and then also, move forward in those ideas? So tool number one, I say, is call it what it is. Peel the onion, discuss it. Look at things around you that make you cringe, whatever that is, whether it's food or a person or a thing, and say, why does that charge me so much? What is it about that makes me feel like, it may be something calling you within that you need to pay attention to. And if you just look at it and call a thing, as Ayanla says, you can see that what is involved in that thing that makes you cringe is just you needing to further examine what there is to it. So start there. You can journal this, you can write this, you can discuss this, you can meditate on this. Really easy. Step number 2 is find yourself in it and be compassionate to that. So if I say, oh, I just can't stand foods that, when people make food and it's just greasy and oily and slimy, something that simple, I can find myself in that. Well, what is it that I need to be paying attention to? Perhaps in that instance, I need to pay attention to the fact that I don't cook for myself enough. And I'm always subject to not like what other people do if I'm not cooking for myself and have a complaint about what they're doing because I'm trying to avoid the fact that I'm not doing enough of it myself. And therefore, the way that I can address that is to be more gentle to myself, is to purchase the foods that I want to eat and to cook them. And this is what I actually do, but I'm just giving an example of how maybe that small little thing that makes you can actually help you to move and step into something that you need to pay attention to with yourself and be more compassionate with yourself. Like, hey, I haven't had a lot of time. I'm nervous about trying new things. I don't really like doing these things. And then you just say, I'm going to have to solve that. Now that I know, what it is, now that I've peeled the onion to find out what the issue is, and I've, thought about it and discussed it, and then found myself in it and being compassionate to myself, now I'm in a position to do something. And that's what step 3 says. Say yes and confront your fear. Say yes. Say yes to whatever it is that you normally would cringe at and just see what's in it for you. If I don't like being around a certain person, I automatically say yes to the idea that person will show up in my universe. And almost every time that I do that, it happens. And I realize that there's no fear behind being in a space with that person if I show up as the person who can acknowledge and peel the onion and discuss whatever it is that was going on with me and that person. It's absolutely not a problem. And so you have to actually say yes to it, let it exist in your space, and know where you stand as it exists in your space. And step 4, which is the final step, is take action. It's really that simple. Just take action. If in fact you feel like, okay, I've said yes, I've confronted the fear, this is in the space. Now what are you going to do moving forward so that this very same thing doesn't bother you again in a new area? What is the action step you'll take in order to not just get at what was going on with you, but to get past what was going on with you, to make it a non-factor? What can you do to make it a non-factor? And usually that last action step means that there's something that you need to do in your life that's been waiting on you. It's been waiting for your unique expression. It's been waiting for acknowledging and addressing it. And it's also been waiting to show up in your space so that you can say yes to it so you can get over that hurdle. What is the action that needs to be taken at that time? And 9 times out of 10, it's the very thing you were cringing at in the beginning that someone else was doing or somewhere some other person was exhibiting. It's seeing that I am not differentiating myself enough. And thus, that is the reason that these duplicates show up. Maybe I'm not making a strong enough differentiation. Maybe I'm not going against the grain. Maybe I'm being too safe and doing what other people are doing. Maybe I am succumbing to external validation. Maybe I am wanting to fit in and be affirmed and be a part of the group. Lots of reasons here. This is just my concept on how to address things that make you cringe and to remove that resistance to those things that make you cringe. And I just want to know how it works for you, how you feel about it. If you can do it in your life, if you're already doing these steps, do me a big favor. Leave some comments below on this video. Again, I'm Stacy Patrice. This is our Wednesday Tools for the Soul, our Hump Day edition. I hope these tools work for you. I hope you get over that hurdle of whatever's going on in your life right now. And I love, love, love to hear your feedback and hear your experiences and how this is working in your life. So leave them below if you can. And then also make sure that you're sharing the video and making sure that when you get into these altercations and you have these conversations with other people, let me speak for it. Go ahead and send the video out. And if the tools are here, you give them the tools. You don't have to try and break it down for them. Just send a video link and help a friend. Okay? So pay it forward, share the love. And again, thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you next Wednesday. In the meantime, be peace, be well, be love, and definitely take your love to the next level and affirm yourself, right? Thanks again. This is Stacy Patrice. Have a great one. Peace, love, namaste, ashe.